Okay, I have never played Satisfactory before. I've never booted it up. I know very little about it. I guess through cultural osmosis, my perception of this game is that it's Factorio, but like first person 3D FPS kind of style. This will be my third or fourth variation on Factorio now on stream. Played a little bit of Factorio, played Shapes.io, which is like the super simple version of it. I think the title for this game is kind of genius. Oh, and when all that work to set up the batteries for my controller, does it not support a controller? Oh my god. No. It's fine. Options. I didn't load this at all. Arachnophobia mode. Huh. Audio levels seem fine. This all looks fine. Make sure I'm actually listed on full screen here. Oops. Controls. Oh, they very much don't want me using a controller. Okay. HUD scaling. I try to turn these up since I stream and record at 720p. It can be harder to see. So if this becomes a problem later, let me know. But I can scale this later if stuff's too small. Okay. New game. Grass fields, ideal for first-time pioneers. That's me. Private? Oh, you can play with people? Shit, I didn't know anything about this. Right on. Start game. First person 3D Factorio. Nice. I like the logo. Welcome back. Game looks good.
Attention Pioneer. The following instructional video is a summary of your impending duties as an exoplanetary pioneer for Fixit Incorporated.
Similar kind of tone to Art Space Shipbreaker.
Assigned pillars of work to ultimately accomplish project assembly. Use provided blueprints to build the necessary buildings. Chart the planet and gather resources to provide desired results and improve your infrastructure. Make sure to report any unusual discoveries to R&D for analysis.
Cool.
Expand your factories, outposts, and pipelines through automation and augmentation. That's it. Get to work and be effective.
Seems
Warning,
simple enough.
Planetfall imminent. Please remain seated during full procedure. Atmospheric entry in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Planetfall procedure initialized.
This is a really cool opening. I think I may have seen a little bit of the gameplay of this from Dan Olson. Folding Ideas has that time I accidentally did a colonialism in Minecraft video where he kind of gets into this notion of Western gamers being preoccupied with like taming the wilderness gameplay loops. It's interesting. What makes this seem Fallout-like, Kami?
Planetfall complete. Please ensure the integrity of your multi-purpose exploration suit is at 100%.
Little corporate animations like Pip-Boy, maybe.
First. Godspeed.
This game's very pretty. A little sticker on there, that's nice. Whoa. It's a nice touch.
Welcome to Planet Massage 2 ABB, your designated sector in the binary star system of Akicha.
Is that all randomly generated, those
Ada,
planet
also
name?
known as Artificial Directory and Assistant, tasked to support pioneers, such as you, in their mission. You are the third of your sector.
I will increase the HUD scaling here in a second.
Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly, sir.
Note,
That's the premise of the
objective-based
Dan Olson video.
initialized. Welcome to onboarding.
Whoa. Creatures. All right, hold on.
First objective. Please dismantle the drop pod. The resulting materials will be repurposed to construct a habitat and utility base, from now on referred
This
to
game
as
is
the hub.
pretty good tutorial so far.
Note, Fixit Incorporated is cost-effective and efficient. We do not waste.
Dismantle the drop pod. Press F to enter dismantle mode. I feel like that's one of the big challenges with games like this, is how do you get the player on board with the core gameplay loop without completely overwhelming them. That was pretty easy. All right.
All important Fixit data
I'm trying to get back into my
communications recorded
options.
and
Is there
stored
like
in
a
the
F?
codex,
Is it not the
including
escape
these
key to
steps.
bring it up? Flavorful tutorials are nice. All tutorials, messages, and emails we save to the codex. Press X to open the codex. Oh, cool. Inbox, tutorials, recipes.
Second objective. Please ensure you have your Fixit Incorporated Xeno Zapper equipped before leaving the drop
A
zone.
Xeno Zapper, huh?
Note, according to Fixit regulations, every pioneer should have access to a means of defense against extraterrestrial threats.
Extraterrestrial? You mean the natives, right? Press tab to open the inventory. Xeno Zapper. Standard issue electroshock self-defense weapon for melee range. Okay. Maybe,
Third objective. Please familiarize yourself with the resource scanner to find iron.
oh, it autosaves. That's
Note,
nice.
the acquisition of iron is considered essential in preparation for all future objectives.
Press V to scan for iron nodes. Oh, that's cute. Nice. Shows you their distance from you. Now I can escape. Okay, hold on. Options, video. Where's the HUD scaling? Make it easier to see on stream. That might be overkill. Let's do like 1.3. Okay, cool. Find and collect iron ore. Leaves. Oh. So it's actually it's interesting because I feel like Factorio exists in a very different category from Minecraft, even though they're both Tame the Wilderness type games. This feels like if you know, proximity to Minecraft is and Dwarf Fortress is on a slider, this is closer to Minecraft than Factorio is. Whereas Shapes.io is like pure efficiency simulator, right? Thanks, Leif. Got it. Chill compared to Factorio. Nice. So I think my favorite game in this kind of genre is Subnautica, if you could even argue that it is. Although I think the thing I really like about Subnautica is that it definitely has like a story and is definitely beatable. Like the tech tree is something that you can do for fun for sure, but there's also reasons that you want to research tech and explore places. So it's more of a video game than it is a toy box, right? I think toy boxes are fun too, but I'm more interested in those kind of like scripted experiences with pre-generated worlds that every player expects to see. Press and hold E to pick up iron ore. Oh, that's nice.
Fourth objective. Build the hub.
So we'll have a story eventually
Note,
committed to putting it in
complete
at
this
once on
objective,
formal
the
release.
resources salvaged from the drop
Oh, I'd
pod
love to
will be
have this on the
consumed.
voting spreadsheet then.
Caution. Ensure the hub is built on spacious open terrain close to the presence of iron sources. Failure to do so will likely result in non-optimal progress.
Thank you. Build the hub. Press Q for the build menu. If they do something like Subnautica, that would be great. I know people are super into procedurally generated worlds, but there's something magical about whenever you watch somebody playing Subnautica knowing, like, oh, this person's going near the Aurora, or they're in the dunes, and that means something to everyone who plays it, right? Which you don't get with Minecraft and similar games. Okay, so I want to get off of this menu. The crafting bench.
You have unlocked Hub feature, manual craft bench. Hub feature, hub terminal.
Oh, it's handcrafted.
Objective.
Nice.
Complete hub upgrade 1. Note, the craft bench and hub terminal are essential for progression to the next objective.
It's a good sign for me anyway. So that puts it even closer to Subnautica. Upgrades and their cost will be found and activated in the hub terminal. Tier 0. Hub upgrade 1. Workshop, portable miner, inventory slots. So it's like terrestrial Subnautica, but with Factorio automation of tasks. Eventually, once it has a story. Waiting for resources. Needs iron rods. Which I have to craft iron itself into rods. Make ingots first. Hold left mouse on craft button. Okay. I see, because I'm doing it manually. And I eventually want to set this up to happen automatically. Many of these. Oh, the starting locations are different worlds? Okay, I thought that was like different biome generation rules. So that makes me more excited about this game to know that. New buildings, new equipment, player upgraded.
Congratulations, you have unlocked building, workshop, equipment, portable miner, inventory, additional slots, hub feature, personal storage.
Fixit doesn't seem
Sixth
like a
objective, complete hub upgrade
evil
2.
corporation,
Note,
though.
portable
At least
miners
not yet.
require no power and will mine a node until their inventory is full. Note, multiple portable miners can be used on a single node.
Personal storage. Equipment workshop is used to craft equipment like portable miner. Portable miner can be placed in a nearby resource node by pressing left mouse button. Press Q to open the build menu. Buildings be dismantled without any loss of resources. Oh, I like that. No loss of resources. It's a good choice. So is my inventory just slot based? It doesn't care about the weight of objects? So build, production, craft equipment, craft a range of different parts. But both of these things exist. Are these independent from the craft? Okay, we already have a craft bench, but we don't have an equipment workshop. I feel like that you can search for stuff. All slots are per slot caps based on item types. Okay. I think that doing a narrative of an evil corporation is appropriate. I mean, corporations trend toward that, but we've seen it so much that it might be interesting to take a different route with it. Just because it's Something we've seen before. Okay. I think that means that I can build an equipment workshop. Now, are these usually things that I want to build in my hub, or I literally cannot build them in my hub. Gotcha. And since I can freely dismantle stuff, there's not a lot of permanent choices that you're making here that you can regret later. If you want to move stuff later, you can without paying a price for it. Moving stuff is quick and easy. Okay. Equipment workshop. Portable miner. Wants iron rods and plates. Okay. Right. Definitely not accidental. I think that evil, I would disagree. I think evil definitely can involve lack of intent. That sort of passive evil is the sort that's the most insidious. People just kind of exploit others without realizing it. All right, let's go rods. Gotta make more ingots. Yeah. Great minds. It's often the ways in which we're passive and unwilling to really appreciate the ways in which we consume resources and deny them to other people. The kind of attitude of like, I've got mine, so fuck you. Alright, portable miner. So I just have the one for now, but I kind of want to figure out how it works before I stress out too much. That is a... So it's in my inventory? Is it F as like a tool? This is a dismantling tool. Okay, B is a flashlight. V is for scanning. X pulls up my inbox. Tab is my inventory. Oh, this goes in my hands. Okay, I see. So I just build this on a place where I previously manually harvested ore, and it will continue to collect it from there. Oh, that thing's cute looking. It's cool. Oh, this whole floor is ore. I see. There's just a big jutting out node. Very cool. Okay, complete hub upgrade 2. Tier 0, hub upgrade 2. Select milestone, requires 20 iron rods, 10 iron plates. Which is nice that they have a separate mode for when you're collecting stuff manually. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Now, when I picked up the entire portable miner, it just gave me all of the ore that it had already collected. Okay. Grab all of what we want next time. Craft bench. Let's make ingots. There's basically no reason to have non-ingot iron, right? You may as well turn it all into ingots. That's awesome, Leon. I think the evil corporation, or at least the uncaring corporation, is, you know, a good trope for fiction, but I think there's a way to do it that's like super on the nose and doesn't really say much of anything new. Can hold space. The mouse over the craft button. Oh, that is nice. Thank you. 20 rods. Add more than enough. Cool. Whoa, that's cool. I like how it physically changes.
Congratulations. You have unlocked Hub feature, Biomass Burner. Scanner feature, Copper. New buildings and recipes, which can be found in the Build menu and Craft bench respectively. 7th objective. Complete Hub Upgrade 3. Note. Connect buildings to a biomass burner for power. Note. Buildings such as the smelter require a recipe to be set.
So the biomass burner can take the plant mass that I picked up.
And use portable miners for optimal results.
I will try that. Okay. Cool. Lead hub upgrade 3. Buildings like the smelter require a recipe to be selected and power to function. Biomass burner generates power by consuming biomass like wood and leaves. Power generators in most buildings only have a single power line connection. Okay. So where's the smelter? Hub terminal, storage box, area under construction. It doesn't start with a smelter. Smelts ore into ingots. Requires 4 copper wire. Okay. Power lines. Connects power poles, power generators, and factory buildings. Uses cables. So copper's the thing that I just unlocked. We'll see how long this lasts, but so far this game is pretty aggressively gating what I can do, which I really appreciate. I think the main way I get overwhelmed in these games is just by being able to do too many things at once. So not even letting me know about copper at the start, I think, was a smart decision. Now I can scan for copper ore, which I can create an auto miner for, right? That's at the equipment shop. Yeah, I kind of just have to accept, like with Factorio, that I'm going to be doing things extremely inefficiently and that everyone in chat is going to be screaming about it in exclamation point hide. Or watching it on YouTube in the future and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just have to just play the game, try not to think about it too much, try not to be too stressed out. Streaming games like Factorio is like having people sit over your shoulder watching you code. You don't want to see how I coded this. Be like, really? You're gonna do that? Like, what? What's the problem? Oh, nothing. Just keep doing you. Gatekeeping has you reverse Satisfactory. It eases you into it a little bit better. I do like having the jutting ore node, which are kind of meant to destroy manually. Whoa! What was my... I have to like equip a thing, right? Oh shit, not shift tab. Yeah, right. Damage to fixed property detected. Do have that. How do I default to using what's in my hand? Is there a button for that? Only show affordable recipes. Oh, that's kind of cool. Copper ingots. So I have all these shortcuts in the bottom right corner. There's build mode, F is dismantle, B is flashlight, V is scan, X is mail, tab is my inventory. How do I, is there a hotkey to just swap out of any of those modes and just using what's in my hands? Yeah, how do you get out of those special modes? That's my question. God damn it. Imminent destruction property. Didn't realize you could die in this game. Can be eaten to restore health segments. Am I actually damaging this thing or just stunning it? Okay, that answers my question. Never mind. Because I think it does. Looks like it's still alive. I like the graphics on these things. They're kind of stylized. Pick up alien carapace. I was defending myself. The colonist said. Alright, let's see. It's not my fault. Starship Troopers, something, something. I gotta ask this question. Does ore always need to be processed into ingots as a first step, no matter what? Or is there like a branching production path for ore prior to it becoming an ingot? table. I may as well make everything the ingots that I have. Okay. I go check on my auto miners. So it'll stop once it gets to 100. Okay. Can I quickly scan for my existing buildings? I mean, I guess I can assume that that goes to the copper that I set up an automiter on. This game looks really nice. I'm excited for it to be finished. Because I didn't double check with you, Walter. I'll leave it up to you. But if you didn't want me to go for the full 3 hours, you wanted to save time for the game to get fully released, let me know. Can always wrap early and credit you back time. I didn't realize it was early access until I bought it today. Also good to play for the full 3 hours if you want. I've got a compass spot for the hub, but nothing else yet. Okay, thanks. The reason they want you to put the hub near iron is because you're going to need that for basically everything. Is the auto-saving something that is guaranteed to happen, or is it something you have to opt into? I guess I kind of like games that don't let you save scum. It looks very polished given early access, I'd agree. Save and load manually. Okay. It's fine if that's the way it works. It's one of those things where it's a nice to have for me if all the game design is built around you not being able to save scum. But most games don't work that way, so it's okay if it's not that way. It's just a bonus. Multiplayer is unplayable. That's too bad. If it's a authored world, which is already really exciting for me, if they can get a story or a progression tree that's similar to the way Subnautica works, then I would be super excited to play this. I think you take a building automation type game like this, and you combine it with a plot and authored things to do, I get way more excited than if it's a sandbox like toy, basically. Okay, so smelter. Need to make more bigger rods. More power to people that are into toys and sandbox experiences, but I really value, as a gamer, I value that, like, authorial intent, figuring out what the developer wants me to do. Smelter. Is this supposed to connect to something? Require a recipe to be selected and power to function. So the smelter has to be powered by the biomass burner, so theoretically it should be somewhat close to it. This part's a little stressful for me, but I think the fact that I can dismantle and rebuild buildings trivially helps with the stress elements. Sometimes the ground is unstable if you fall into the earth because they would finish making it. There's not a lot of penalties for doing it around other than having to take the time to do over. Okay, yeah, that's fair, Percolator. Not every game is designed in such a way where it matters. You're right. So here's a smelter. It's a sample building. Need to configure smelter. Copper ingot. Oh, this automatically does the thing that I've been doing manually. Okay. No power. So, okay, it's okay. Is there like a wiring button? Power line. Okay, I think I got it. And then it has output over here. Power generators in most buildings have only a single power line connection. Oh, and it produces pollution. Beautiful. That's good. Well, let's see what I need for hub upgrade 3. Oh, do I already have it? New buildings, new parts, new scannable resources.
Congratulations. You have unlocked Scanner Feature Limestone. New buildings and recipes, which can be found in the Build menu and Craft bench respectively. 8th objective. Complete Hub Upgrade 4. Note. Use power poles to expand the power network for optimal results.
Yeah, procedural generation's cool. I think it's fine if you have a big open world and you don't want to like handcraft every hill and rock. That's fine. But then I really feel like for me to enjoy the game, there's got to be a lot of authored content that's built into it. If you've got a static world that everybody's playing on, right? I guess a lot of these games, the draw is that, oh, everyone has their own world, but you don't have to play those kinds of games for very long before you start to see the matrix, so to speak, and realize like, oh, this biome always generates next to this biome, and it feels like it's infinite, but it really isn't, you know? What else is cool? What you did was really cool. Thanks for the support. Do you want to watch a movie sometime? Muted Pioneer for 1,000 years. Pioneer list. It's cool. This is the dream number of monitors at a workstation. Yeah, Starbound had that problem for sure, and unfortunately I played it so much in early access that I never got around to playing the presumably complete game. I think it's done now. There's iron rods, screws, reinforced iron plates, concrete. Okay, well I guess I'll go look for some limestone. Let me make a miner. More rods first. I do like that radial menu, that's cool. Oh, there's some right here. Nice. Zero generation is fun. You were looking to experience. Oh, for time sync, sure. Hey, Donovan, how you doing? Impure mines of limestone. Is most limestone going to be impure? Is that something I can tell from the map indicator here? Yeah, I think the first time I remember radial power menus was with a active pause was Mass Effect. Property of the node. Miners get half healed. Okay. I can see what y'all mean about this being more chilled in Factorio. It's interesting how the exploration element seems to add to that. It's like, I'm sure you still want to focus on efficiency eventually. Really great gating so far. I'm a big fan. It's completely playable without the automation component. Because Factorio seems to be built around the automation, like, don't have spaghetti code system, right? Okay, so that's where I get the output. Gotcha. Can I unload here? Oh, I can take everything out. I don't have to go to a separate side to get stuff. Okay. Gotcha. Oh, do I have to, like, specify the recipe? I see. Because it could produce multiple things, I guess. So I can't just throw iron in there and know that it wants to make ingots for me. Hey, Cappy, how you doing? How's biomass burner going? Pretty well, actually. Well, it seems like defending your base in Factorio is more just another thing you have to plan for. It's not necessarily like a... It's not meant to be a real risk. You're not really expected to, like, lose machinery to it. It's just another problem to solve, right? At least that's how it was sold to me when we were playing it. Oh, do those resource fields not get completely depleted eventually? It's interesting. From what little I played at Factorio, I know I mentioned this during the playthrough, but the defending your base part feels kind of vestigial. Like it may have been an earlier focus of the gameplay, and then as they progressed it further and further, it became less important. The point where it's still there, and you're, I think you can make an argument for it and say, oh, well, it still kind of serves a purpose. But I wonder if it had been included, if they could time travel back to when they first made the game with the knowledge they have now from the direction they've taken it, And the way people are primarily playing it. All right, plates. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm just making a bunch of these. I have no idea what I'm going to be using them for, if anything. Okay, so we have multiple levels. You start with ore to ingot to rod to screw. Okay. Used to need drops from enemy bases to do late game science in Factorio home. That might explain why I dislike it. Brewski. 75 iron plates, 20 cables, 10 concrete, which I haven't made concrete yet. It's just straight limestone. Okay. So let me go check my miner over here. Oh, cool. When you pick the milestone, it tells you what you're working on in the corner. I didn't notice that till now. Guess I wasn't selecting it until I'd already inadvertently finished the step. Okay. So I got plenty of concrete for the thing. Still need cables. Oh, the copper ingots only stack up to 100, it looks like, and then they set up a separate stack. And that's different for different kinds of items, basically. See how much iron I got here. I feel like without playing efficiently, it's still possible to always be doing something in this. Where I get, like, analysis paralysis really badly in Factorio. Like, I feel like it's possible to just do something for the sake of doing something that net sets you back over the course of the next hour of play in Factorio. Because you put something somewhere stupid and now you're going to have to go back and plan it out better next time. Here, it's like, oh, whatever, I'll just go grab some copper, or I'll hand make this while I'm thinking about what to do next. And I think that the, until people better explain the alien threat in Factoria, I was like, Jesus, every second that I'm not doing something efficiently, I am making the game worse for myself. Hello. I don't think Factorio is bad. I'm not. This isn't like saying Satisfactory is better, but those are just issues that I have while playing it. That it's a much more stressful game, even though I don't think it's intended to be. Okay, looks like if I press a hotkey twice, I go back to whatever's in my hands. So I should put this back for later. See how this is coming. Different approaches, right? I still don't get the RTS gameplay loop. I spent most of Warcraft 1 and 2 and most of what we played of StarCraft trying to figure it out, and I think this name got close when pointed out that it's kind of like a toy in a lot of ways. It's already sort of like a sandbox. It's not like a crafted experience where the devs have an intended way they expect you to clear each level. And if you were a PC gamer in the 90s, checking these games out, the appeal was more about, oh, how am I going to build things in order to overcome this crazy challenge? Not, how does the dev want me to build things in order to complete this tailored challenge? Which is what I expected out of them. Still would be interested to see what a modern RTS looks like, because all the ones I've played were made in the 90s. I'll upgrade 4.
Congratulations, you have unlocked Building, conveyor belts and poles. Inventory.
I was like,
additional
so long as
slots.
conveyor belts don't exist, I don't have to feel
Mount
bad about not
rejected.
automating that.
Complete Hub upgrade 5. Note: portable miners cannot be connected to conveyor belts. Advice: when planning the construction of buildings, note the placement of conveyor belts.
Okay, there were a couple hints on the screen that I didn't pay as close of attention to before, so I'm going to see if they're in here now. Power poles can be used to connect multiple buildings of the same power grid, which didn't seem to matter as of the first step. Buildings like the constructor require a recipe to be selected and power to function. Okay, same for the smelter. Data on recipes and buildings can always be accessed in the codex, which is open by pressing X. Okay. Conveyor belts are used to fully automate resource transportation between buildings. Buildings have specific inputs and outputs to connect conveyor belts. So let me try to make one. Not too super stressed out yet. Let me store all really quick. Come back for this in a second. I assume I can increase my personal inventory eventually. Again, I don't think RTS games are bad. It's just it's a very different style of play that I'm used to. Where it's like they seem like they're designed, authored games where the developers plan for you to take a certain strategy for each level, but I think that they have a lot more in common with was it the build menu maybe? Traction power logistics. Here we go. Requires iron plates. The campaigns of them end up playing out more like sandbox toy games. Plates, copper. Go pick up the iron that I got over here. This is fun so far. I'm not stressed. I mean, I have a mild amount of stress about automation, but I feel like while I'm talking, I can be doing things. I don't feel like I should just sit still and stare at the screen and be like, what should I be doing? Oh god. Conveyor pole. Connection for conveyor belts. Route conveyor belts in a more controlled manner. Does it have to like start from an input on something? Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's projecting how much I'm going to need to build it. Oh, but it's automatically going to try to extend it with... Okay, I think I get it. It's going to try to automatically use poles where necessary, basically. I think part of the magic of these automation games is like the way we should be teaching math in schools, which is to teach people the hard way to do something and make sure they understand it, and then teach them the shortcut so that they appreciate the shortcut. I think Factorio does a decent job of that. And this is, I've been in here for 53 minutes, and this is my first time actually automating. So I've got a pretty solid handle. Whereas I feel like Factorio throws you into, okay, build a fucking conveyor belt and do it now. You punched a rock for 2 clicks. Never do that again. If you do, someone will come to your house and shoot you in the head. All right, conveyor belt. Oh, this is so easy. I'm a fan. So how do I actually get it to connect to the miner? Does the miner have to have like a different device for it to output to first? Let me try to look at the build menu. Oh. So what would I connect a conveyor belt to right now? I guess I thought that the whole point was to send ore from these things to the smelter. Is there any use for conveyor belts right now then? Constructor. Okay, so this is a smelter, but for more complicated parts. Oh, okay. I guess I missed the constructor last round. Green is output, orange is input. Snap to guidelines, oh that's nice. Now why can't I construct here? Is there too much garbage in the way or something? Oh, I don't have the resources for it, that's why. Cables. Okay. I guess maybe I'll send that as feedback to the devs to have a different, you can't build this color for you can't build this because the terrain is bad versus you can't build this because you have insufficient stuff. Now, what would stop me from just building them right in front of each other like this? Does it still need a conveyor belt for it to work? And I could have like a one tile conveyor belt there? Oops. That's cool. I like the build animation. Nice. So I can tell it I want plates, but it needs power. Okay. You can't connect more power lines to this connection. So I have to make a power pole first? Need wire. We always need a conveyor. Okay. So poles are basically like power line splitters, I guess. Dismantle. Up to 4, I think. Oh, I need more cables, okay. This is fine. Yeah, I really like the not losing mats for deconstructing. That's a really good decision. Highly reduces the baseline stress level of playing the game. Two? Cute, okay. Figure the constructor. Oh, now it's working. Neato. 20 parts per minute. Graphics on that are pretty cool looking. Nice. Okay, so that's just making iron plates for me automatically. Let me go set up a milestone here so I know what I'm working toward. I need iron rods, concrete, and cables. So I'm probably just gonna lazily build those the stupid way. Now, this is making 30 parts per minute. This is making 20 parts per minute, so there's 10 excess iron that I can pull out of this every so often without screwing up the efficiency, I guess. But this thing still needs iron, which it doesn't have anything automatically feeding to it, because I don't have a big enough miner to do that automatically yet. What's incorrect? Input side of the constructor. I'm confused. It says it produces 20 parts per minute, but it accepts 30 parts per minute? Okay. I see. So because they match each other, there is no excess to withdraw. Okay. $75. This game could benefit from some really, really minor quality of life UI improvements for things like the tutorial. Like if you do a thing where if you're tracking a milestone in the corner, if it like put like a green check mark when you have that number of items on them, either in the milestone meter or in the inventory itself. That's the kind of stuff I would expect to see when it comes out of early access, though. It's actually pretty polished for early access. Seems like there's a lot of settings you can tinker with too, right? Oh, that's cool. So once I have enough, I can just deposit them and it'll mark it as done. Okay. I guess you could have like a little yellow marker. You have enough in your inventory or storage. Or you could have separate markers for in inventory versus in storage versus turned in. I see. It does automatically select the relevant items at the top. That's a nice touch. Okay, I see the check mark now. Shift click just sends from one interface to the opened interface. How many cables do I need? 50. When they say affordable recipes, it just means recipes that you're able to make, right? Actually, a little bit short here. Okay. Upgrade. Do a really good job of improving the look of this place. I like that.
Unlocked. Building, Miner Mark 1. Building, storage container. Hub feature, additional biomass burner. 10th objective, complete hub upgrade 6. Note, there are no notes.
Out of fuel. Oh, upgrade 6. Oh, it sounds like now I get access to the Miner Mark 1. Select milestone. Copper wire, iron plates, iron rods. Fill you. I can switch the constructor to make rods, right? Here we go. So when I switched, did it automatically take the plates that were in there out when you go to switch recipes like that? Great. Biomass burners can be connected to the same grid for increased capacity. So I should just be mashing pickup when I run past leaves and stuff. Sure. Organization storage container. Store large amounts of items as an input and output for conveyor belts. Oh, okay. Miner Mark 1. Fires a personal miner. 24 plates. 10 concrete. Yeah, I really like the look of this game. It's very clean. I'm so glad that we spent such a short time in the brown and bloom era of like the late aughts, early 2010s. Everyone kind of just simultaneously is like, you know what? Color is good. Everything doesn't have to be brown all the time. Didn't realize I was sitting on 94 of those. Yeah, Factorio is an ugly game. It looks like Fallout. That's always been something that's been kind of a turnoff about it to me. Which it's not fair. It's one of those irrational... I guess it fits with the theme. Being industrial and automating and things like that, but... I think the most recent version of Factorio that I played more recently looks a lot better. Okay, let me look at this. Q, Miner Mark 1. How do I pick this back up? I think I did it by accident. Pick up miner, here we go. So we go Q, Miner Mark 1. Has an output only, which makes sense. Whoa! It's pretty sweet. Now this thing needs power to function, which I guess makes sense. Then I need to have conveyor belts that run. I do love the way you connect conveyor belts in this. It's painless. Can I... I like that snap to guidelines option. How do I know if a power pole is within range of my existing power poles? Is there like a indicator that shows you when it's too far? People are no longer salted for Grandpa's wood panel hatchback. Cables and... wait, hold on. You build a power line off a pole and point in the ground, it'll build a pole for you. Oh, okay. Kind of like how the conveyor belts try to build the conveyor what-you-call-its for you if you need them. Range on power poles is longer than I imagined. Oh, I didn't even need to build another pole. Okay. Well, they have to be pretty close to each other in Factorio, right? Football field for max cable length. Okay. Very cool. Let the stress of automation begin. Let me go get a whole bunch of leaves and shit. But each power pole can only support 4 connections, right? So I'd have to add an extra pole if I wanted to increase the number of connections. So if we do power line, it's 2, okay. It's surprisingly painless. I really like the red versus green lights on there. It makes it easy to tell what everything's doing. Power poles are the only stress point. So, like, point of stress I have right now is I know that I could set up either multiple miners, or I assume at some point I can set up like pickers in order to split the ore from this into multiple buildings and have 2 smelters, 2 constructors, 3 smelters, 3 constructors, and so on to make all the different things that I want to make. But I'm not going to think about that too much right now because it would freak me out. I need biomass. I assume I can eventually automate biomass collection as well. Oh yeah, I'm burning fuel quick nowadays. Okay. You can't set up a farm of animals to send their poop into the biomass feeder. Yeah, let's make wire. Yeah, I like how quickly you can just say, you know what, I'm just gonna scrap everything. Is the hub upgrade system fairly linear? Like, do you always have one thing to work on at a time, or does it eventually start to branch out? Either is fine. Like, I am super on board with it just being there's always one thing to work on. That would be pretty chill for me, actually. Eventually branches. Smart of them to make the first hour or so be completely linear. Keeps it from becoming overwhelming.
Congratulations, you have unlocked building
Space elevator.
building biomass burner, part biomass.
Space
Motivational
elevator
lesson.
seems pretty early.
Congratulations, you succeeded in every provided task. On behalf of Fixit Incorporated, I thank you for your current and future service. Additional knowledge. The hub terminal has been converted to give access to milestones there to ensure you progress along Fixit-approved protocols. Note: future developments should be aimed at constructing the space elevator and, as such, initiating project assembly. Good luck.
Here we go. So tier 0 was the tutorial, and now I have some basic decisions. Base building, logistics, splitters, okay. Productivity display. Inventory slots. Upgrades the pocket dimension with extra inventory slots. This one hand equipment slot. Oh, that's kind of cool. Let's do that. So, okay. I gotta go hunting for different kinds of biomass are more efficient in the burner, I assume. Like leaves are probably the least efficient. Okay, that's pretty reasonable. I think effectively Factorio is the same, but the way that you... I don't know, I felt like figuring out what I was able to do right now versus what I was able to do down the line was a little bit counterintuitive in that game. It's very close to winning the vote, so when it does, I'll probably need a lot of help with that. Healing, should probably do now. Keep thinking I is healing. Oh, I can convert leaves and wood to a biomass item. Is that just something I do at the workbench? It's like bio cubes or something. Switch my constructor over to plates here. Oh, biomass. Is this as of the tier I just unlocked? Guess don't spoil this, but I could see them doing some cool, spooky stuff in this game with giant fauna. It's not going to be as scary as Subnautica because it's not also underwater, but... Biomass recipes came in with the final hub upgrade. Okay. So it just makes them more energy dense, basically. Okay. Been secretly underwater this whole time. I'm excited for the Subnautica patch or expansion or whatever. Kind of sequel at this point. Screws are made from rods. I've played a decent number of games now that are world without a game. You gotta like, there need to be like contractor studios that you call in to build your world for you and then have other devs build a game on top of it, because I feel like they're non-overlapping skill sets for many developers. Because that's kind of what Monolith does, right? Didn't they bring in Monolith to help make the world for Breath of the Wild? Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X is a world without a game. A really pretty open space that's fun to explore, but there's very little to actually do. I should be making plates over here, right? I need copper wire, lots of it. Trying to build a setup for that. Let me go ahead and get my personal space upgrade that I'm working on right now. I have a little voice in the back of my head that's like, you really should be prioritizing which tree you work on first, and, you know, you really ought to go set up a copper smelter and constructor up here. But I guess as long as some of these things are running and you're doing something all the time, it's not the end of the world. I feel like they could, they've already done this in such a way where it's reasonable to make your own stuff early on just because the number of constituent parts you need to build stuff is reasonable to craft by hand. But as you start climbing and it's like, okay, now you need 700 copper wire, it's like, okay, I naturally want to automate that because it would take so long to do it manually. But they at least leave you in that state where it's reasonable to do it manually for long enough that you kind of appreciate what the automation is doing for you, you know? That voice could go play Factorio. Yeah, I have the voice, but it's not a taskmaster with a whip like it is in Factorio, where it's just completely paralyzing. You could do this, but it's also fine if you don't. Versus, like I joked earlier, if you don't do this, someone will come to your house and shoot you in the head. CPU occupancy or task completion. It's more about stressing out about optimizing the build order of things. It's actually part of the fun of something like RuneScape, where virtually everything you can do is codependent on virtually everything else you can do. So there might be a quest that upon completing it unlocks an area that has a mining activity that is twice as XP efficient as the mining activities in your currently available areas. But prerequisites for that quest involve grinding, farming, and smithing, and rune crafting, and killing a boss that drops something that you need for the quest, and so on. So you get into these cool little ooh, a piece of candy trails where you keep getting distracted, where you originally set out, I would like to level mining, and you're doing something that's like 7 steps deep away from that in order to do mining like a week from today, you know? So I think that it's fun in something like RuneScape because I know I could still sit and do it inefficiently and I wouldn't feel completely terrible. I think that's probably true of Satisfactory. It's kind of tapping into that same, ooh, a piece of candy brain space. Okay, copper wires are next. Let me see if I can change what this thing is making. Guess let's do screws. It seems like I need lots of those. Yeah, I think RuneScape 3 borrowed Mahogany Ohms from Old School. It came out a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. I think people have sat down and figured out like the most efficient path to play RuneScape, that you should do this thing when you first create your character, and then do this and do this and then do this and do this and do this. But that web of possible tasks is so complicated that it's not even overwhelming. It's just a human being isn't going to figure it out. So just pick something; it'll probably pay off eventually because everything eventually is worthwhile to do. Breath of the Wild handed Ooh a piece of candy incredibly well. Absolutely. I think it was purer in that game too than what I'm talking about with RuneScape. RuneScape's often like the candy that you're currently attracted to is directly related to the candy you were previously attracted to, whereas in Breath of the Wild it's pure distraction, which is a wonderful gameplay loop. I'm setting out to go explore that shrine that I see on the horizon, but I ran into 7 awesome things on the way that have nothing to do with the shrine on the horizon. So I'm going to check those out first and completely forget what I was doing. I think it's a gameplay loop that's difficult to tap into successfully. And I think that different games hook people with it differently. Like, I don't feel it at all when I play Skyrim for whatever reason. Like, I think it might just be that the content and the side content in Skyrim is generally just so degenerate that I don't particularly care about one cave versus another cave, you know? But I think there are a lot of players that are very much drawn in by exploration in Skyrim and being distracted and spending 8 hours going in a completely different direction than they originally intended to go. Yeah, I think that's kind of what's magical about it, Walter. Not a lot of games nail that feeling of, well, what I'm doing might not be perfect, but it's at least not a waste of time. Or it's at least not so inefficient that I'm going to get punished for it later, you know? Like, I'm going to have to make these copper ingots eventually, whether I'm making them manually right now or building a machine. It's going to get me stuff that's going to make things easier down the line. I know that my opinion on Skyrim is aberrant. I don't think it's a bad game. It's just I didn't play it until almost a decade after it had already blown everyone's minds. So for me, it's kind of like, what? Launch pod.
Milestone reached. The molecular analysis machine, referred to as the MAM, will allow R&D to provide new technologies, items, and buildings based on samples collected in the field.
Neat.
To ensure a greater chance of success during exploration, an upgraded tool belt has been provided, as well as an object scanner and beacons.
Neat.
Note: the object scanner requires calibration via the MAM to enable detection of specific objects.
So is the space elevator like the current final objective, the beat the game step? Oh, I guess not. No, it's not even that complicated. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. You probably want to automate it. Molecular analysis machine is used to analyze new and exotic materials found on alien planets. Assist pioneers through the MAM. Turn valuable data into usable research options and new technologies. So I automatically have 2 hand slots now, right? That I can swap between. And did I also get just a basic inventory space upgrade there, or is that something I have to research separately? Oh, thanks, Walter. That's cool. I have 2 hands. Object scanner. Scans the area for a set item, beeps at a rate proportional to proximity and direction. Beacon. I'll make one just to set something up. I think I know where stuff is, but... Oh, I need 15. Shit. So I think I get you. So if I walk over here with the beacon... Okay, now I can use the scroll wheel to switch between the stuff in my hands. Gotcha. If you can get 92 fire making for the Inferno for 60 wood cutting, you're wasting a lot of easy fire making XP. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Figure beacon. Copper ore. Okay. Aren't those in Subnautica as well? I don't actually need that because it's pretty close. But...
Exit freighter re-entry complete.
Oh, is that thing being billboarded? It's 2D because it's so far away, and now it's 3D because I'm close to it. Cute. That's pretty neat. Okie dokie. Why is this not going? Oh, because it uses iron rods. I'm a dummy. Okay. Wonder why it even let me. I guess it lets me pick like wire and stuff too. That's not valid. So I'd have to build another constructor in front of this one if I wanted to build screws automatically. I thought maybe it was gonna automatically turn it from ingot to rod to screw. Is that too close? Maybe not. Can't connect more lines to this connection. Wait. Is it just not green because it doesn't have anything coming into it? Oh, because I haven't told it what to do. There we go. Cool. Okay, let's get a new milestone. Conveyor merger, conveyor splitter, productivity display, ramps and walls. Oh, vehicles. As an overview, useful for building. I actually don't care about either of these right now yet, anyway. Assembler, craft 2 parts into another part. So this is like the next evolution of the constructor. More complicated parts. Obstacle clearing. Oh, that's kind of cool. Solid biofuel. More inventory slots, you know it. Jelly landing pad. Huh, guarantees a safe landing. Redeem your fix-it coupons here. No refunds possible. Awesome sync. That's nice. I feel like games need to have games like this need to have resource sinks. Increases the number of resources per minute. Okay, let's try obstacle clearing. That sounds fun. And I'm already making screws. God is real. All right. I appreciate it, Walter. What have you done? You guys are being very chill. I appreciate it. Feel free to scream and hide. Gotta destroy this beautiful landscape. Terraform the wilderness. Okay, I probably want to automate copper production here. I'm starting to need a lot of it. I didn't actually add that as an official milestone. Let me fix that here. It's weird that it's chiller than Factorio, though, to be honest. Like, here we go. Like, I don't know if the developers of Satisfactory set out to make a game that is more chill, or it's just kind of a logical consequence of the rules that they've established. I feel like that's often the case, that you make a game and there's like an undesigned meta that exists in the game independent of the developer's intent. All right, so I'm gonna try. Let me pause for a second and breathe. Can I make new biomass thingies, or are all of my biomass burners? Okay, no, I can. Is there any reason to build extra ones, or can I? Do they like? Does the power decay over time the further I stretch it from my base? I could just run them based on these two here, right? And just run wires all the way to my copper. This is the studio that did Goat Simulator, and they were largely unaware of Factorio. That's crazy. I love convergent evolution in game design. I can run wires all the way there, no problem. I wonder if they removed the 4 connection limit on power poles. I assume it would pretty significantly change the core game eventually, but concrete. I'm sure it's a complexity limiter. Oh, you think the perspective means that you can't suss out the spaghetti code as badly, Prob? That's interesting. Factorio isn't just someone sitting behind your shoulder watching you code. There's also like a special code visualization score that shows just how spaghettified it is. Okay. Over here, thinking about my life. I need to run cable out of here. Make some wire first. The UI is an inexcusable mess, but before we fix it, we have to program in an answer to the question, do dwarves have souls? That's such a crazy game, Dwarf Fortress. Playing a game like Dwarf Fortress, or arguably like Factorio or this, is like you balance a cup on your head, and then the cup is constantly filling with liquid, and you're constantly asked to increase the size of the cup and increase the amount of liquid that's able to fit in it. And as long as you're like staying very focused on increasing the cup size in the exact pace with the amount of liquid pouring into it, it's tolerable, but it can get stressful really fast when you're like, wait, what was I doing? What the fuck is this game? Who am I? You said if I point at the ground, it'll automatically build a hole for me, right? Okay, so not quite that far away. Ouch. Oh, here we go. I see. I hadn't targeted it correctly yet. No, so yes, that far away. God damn. You weren't kidding. Wire's too long. Okay, maybe not, but that's okay. Still pretty good. Gotcha. Nice. Not terrible. Alright, so now we need a miner, which I have most of the resources for. And then Q, miner Mark 1. Wire, miner. We need to have a smelter up here. I don't know if that can connect, can it? Now, is this where I would want the chainsaw so I could clear the shrubbery up here? Can I still use the miner Mark 1 traditionally to get... Okay, I can. Let me see if I can finish the chainsaw then. Probably want to build an auto miner over there too. I like that since it requires the portable miner, I think it's really important in games like this to have your technology require the previous technology in that way. It's actually something that the old school RuneScape developers have discovered kind of by accident in trying to please their player base, where, you know, if there's an existing best in slot weapon, if there's a whip that's a really good damaging weapon, if they want to add an upgrade to the whip, the player base basically demands that you consume the whip in the process of making the new thing, right? That way the content that provides the whip remains relevant even with the new content that you've added onto the game that adds power creep. So it means that you can never like go down a tech tree and completely skip part of the progression, because I feel like games that let you do that let you basically waste entire parts of the game, or skip entire parts of the game, and that's a bummer. To rotate the miner to somewhere with more space. Okay, we'll check that in a second. Let me see if I can get the chainsaw first. Concrete. See how my screws are coming. Look at that. Beauty. Oh, you can do partial progress too. That's nice. I find this game is, maybe it's less so the more automation you do, but as long as you're still manually making stuff, it's pretty streamable in the sense that while you're sitting here holding the spacebar down to craft stuff, you can look at chat. Do they ever do a thing in this game where you can like automatically craft the prerequisites if you have the raw materials? Like if you have copper ore in your inventory, you can go to cable and just hold over a button and have it go straight to cable from ore. Okay, it's not deal breaker. 24 more cables. Not with ore, but anything that can be handcrafted for each step. That might be why I remembered it. I can see that being a technology that you have to research eventually. Again, with the design philosophy of you should have to appreciate how something is done manually before it becomes automatable. It is a very large difficulty spike. Scholar tried to make the argument that even a streamer who ignores chat entirely and isn't really performing at all, just kind of recording themselves, not even talking, just the fact that your attention is split with things like OBS, and it's very different from playing the game on your couch. So it adds a difficulty element that's not there. Some games suffer more from it, depending on how they're constructed. Certain games are very not streamable as a result. You get games where streamers are like begging for a second to take a break from giving their full attention to the game so they can look at chat or something, and as a result they often will miss things in cutscenes or dialogue. Should have enough screws now. Yeah, I have a pretty solid rule for when I am willing to ask chat for help. Or it doesn't feel like it's giving away the game too much. I'm not just letting chat direct my experience in games. A lot of skill points in playing games while streaming. The penalty drops.
Milestone reached. Biofuel will ensure maximum efficiency of biomass burners. To aid in biofuel production, you are now capable of removing foliage that consists primarily of wood. Additionally, R&D inflated your pocket dimension.
Inflated your pocket dimension. I love it. Inventory space is the life. I did last time, yeah, it was cool. Okay. I want to build a... Is it equipment? Chainsaw. Chainsaw. Screws, rods, reinforced iron plates, which I haven't made in a while. Yeah, there's... Obviously, I can't speak for every streamer out there, but certain games, in my mind, I have this, like, ticking clock of, oh my god, this is boring. Like, I would be fine to just deal with it being boring, but I'm losing people. Not that they're, like, leaving, but they're not interested. So, reading codex entries in Mass Effect is one of my favorite things to do. It's, like, practically my favorite part of the whole game, but that's miserable to stream. When I started playing Myst, the first thing I found was the library, and I started reading the books. And Andrew was like, oh my god, he's going to read all of it. And I'm like, okay. So there's a little timer over my own head that's ticking down, so I have to limit it to like one book. Because I think part of the issue is that you can perceive a streamer absorbing non-textual information. You know, like when they're running through a level and they get killed, that's something that's entertaining, but the person playing the game is processing something when they're reading text, but you're not seeing them process the text. Unless if they're commenting on every line or something obnoxious like that, you know? Little timer, little shelter called Andrew. Andrea was a nice visualization of the fear. I have that fear without her there, but when she's explicitly saying, oh my god, it's so boring for you to read all these books, I'm like, okay. I very much believe in, I think ContraPoints called it masochistic epistemology, what hurts is true. If she's saying it out loud, everyone else is thinking it. They're just too nice to say it. That's why my relationship works so well with her. I think I need one more iron plate. In Final Fantasy VIII, you mentioned enough weird stuff to prompt disbelief that I sought out the extra menus. I was like, there's no way. What? No, I don't think it's that Andrea is typical of the audience. I think that Andrea is especially honest about what she finds to be annoying. There we go. And it uses biomass itself. Okay. So how do I load it up? It's got a little no fuel icon. Does it only use normal biomass, not processed biomass or something? I think it's a streaming thing. I think you'll run into a lot of streamers who, if they were playing a game on a couch, they would sit and slowly consume the menus. And I think there are probably some streamers who care about it less than others. It's not doesn't really affect them. Oh, it uses that new double process biomass that I just unlocked? Okay, thanks. Solid biofuel. I think I've played a couple games that have suffered due to the attention problem. Like, if I had played them off stream, I would have enjoyed them way more. Like, Pillars of Eternity 1 in particular. There's a lot of attention burden in that game that you have to spend on... If you want to get the full value out of it, you want to read every conversation at great length. You want to... If you ever find a book in the game world, you want to read that book. It improves a bit in Pillars 2 because virtually everything is voice acted. So there's not this, like, pressure on the streamer to... read everything out loud, right? That's cool. I dig it. Screw you, nature. Okay, yeah, I assume so. Yeah, see, I always think of myself as being kind of a stickler about spoilers to the point where it's annoying, but I keep hearing that there are a lot of streamers who are way worse, so... Like, my reaction when someone comes in and gives me a tip that I don't want to hear is to feel bad. It's like, oh, I don't want to... Thank you for engaging. I appreciate you wanting to help, but I really didn't want to know that. I'm sorry, but can you shut the fuck up? Chainsaw accidentally made a colonialism. Really recommend that Danielson video, Building Ideas. I accidentally did it that time. I accidentally did a colonialism in Minecraft. I think it's called. It's really well done. So I have to destroy it, dismantle it, and then rebuild it so to rotate it right. I think that's better. Yeah, most of the time it's in good faith, exactly. That's interesting, given that there's no cost for dismantling. I wonder why you can't rotate in place. Maybe it's just a technical problem. Missing 8 wires, okay. Fortunately, I think the UI scale makes it easier to see some of the stuff I'm doing here, but it also means they're kind of blocking each other. I might reduce the scale a little bit here in a second. Yeah, I've never mad at anybody for doing it. My thing with spoilers is I just don't want to have the possibility space. I don't want to see the possibility space of the game shrink earlier than it needs to. I definitely don't mind stuff that's things I couldn't have known anyway, or the big one for me is knowing when I'm exploring an area that I've already tapped out and the game hasn't informed me is tapped out. Like that's a free spoiler that anyone can tell me at any time. I literally don't care. There's nothing I want to do less in a video game than plumb for gold in an area that is completely devoid of it. Someone's like, "You're done here." I'm like, "Thank you. I appreciate that." Yeah. Collapsing the wave function is the way I put it. Exactly. When I play a video game, there's this superposition of all possible narrative states, and I enjoy that superposition a lot. And the more people collapse it, the less happy I am. It's like my Breath of the Wild playthrough, I kept openly speculating, like, oh man, there's these rock golems. I wonder what other kinds of bosses there are. It would be really cool if there was a really big Goma spider boss, and I'm like, there's not. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. I guess now I know. I could play the game all the way up to almost being done and still mistakenly believe that there was more complexity than there actually was, right? But having somebody just tell me, nope, it's not there. It's been an issue you had with the tutorial in the game. Oh man, can I make an automatic biomass processor? I thought I saw that in the... Not a burner, but a thing that makes the better versions of it? Maybe not. Maybe later. It was one of the things in the tech tree. Okay. So solid biofuel is made from either leaf or... Okay. This is the final form of either, basically. Oh, constructors could make biomass. Huh. But you can't... There's no way to automatically feed biomass no matter what you do, right? So if you make a constructor, you just manually load it? Okay. And you basically have to make 2 constructors... So you'd have to make one that makes the tier 1 processed biomass and then one that makes the tier 2 solid biomass. I'll just make what I got for now and load those up so I don't have to think about it for a while. Oh, they can feed from storage containers? Okay. Gotcha. But it's just that there's no way to automate the collection of biomass. It looks like the leaves and trees and stuff respawn over time, is that true? Shrubs might, okay. So is there a theoretical limit, finite amount of fuel in the game? I guess not if the little leaf shrubs come back. It seems like even the level 1 processed biofuel is pretty efficient. So it's probably more than enough for now. See if I can make a constructor for the rest of it. We want to make a biomass burner here. Constructor, rather. Constructor. Need 2 reinforced iron plates. 5 cables. Speaking of which, I should be looking for more stuff here. Part assembly, copper sheets, rotor, smart plating, jump pads. Jump pads sound fun. Okay, so I needed cables. Let me bank some of this crap really quick. You can tech up to infinite fully automated forms of powering your base. Okay. Fuel, you don't have to manually gather fuel anymore. Sure. Reinforced iron plates were regular iron plates. Screws. Needed like 2 of those, didn't I? Maybe it was 3. Instructor, yep, okay. Oops. Sometimes I wish I could zoom out from myself. I guess it kind of does it when you start backing up. Okay, so I want solid biofuel, which means I need to put regular biomass in there. And I have to power the thing. So it takes a maximum of 200 at a time. All right, that's fine. Okay, I was gonna make a smelter for my copper mine. Oh, but I need to be able to unlock rotors before I can make this, don't I? So technically jump pads is only makeable after completing part assembly. Okay. At least this one requires screws, and I've been making those. That thing's been stalled for a while because I suck. The hell was that noise? This means something, there's like a... bottleneck somewhere, basically. So what's the power problem? I still have the biomass burner over here. Oh, is this... reset the fuse? Too much draw at once. I was trying to wonder earlier why you might need to have multiple biomass burners at once. Because it can only put out so much per second, I guess. Okay. Gotcha. So I'll eventually need more burners for that purpose. It needs to be manually restarted, right? Makes sense. cables and iron plates. So if I set this to temporarily switch to making iron plates, and this thing is set to make screws, will it just do nothing until I switch this back to making rods? This thing will still just eventually max out on plates. Okay, so I want to build a smelter, which is 3 rods, 4 coils. No, that's how many I have. Oh, because the conveyor is going to be sending resources that the next thing can't use. Okay. And it doesn't know to throw them out. Gotcha. Okay, let's see. Smelter. Oh, I need wire, not cables. Oops. Creatures are more aggressive at night. Build some of the plates until I run out. I suppose that would make sense. Right, I forgot I had to repower this because I destroyed it. Smelter. Really shocked at how clean this game feels. Like, you think it would be really buggy and would run really slow. Oh, I need more steel plates. Concrete and what else? Quote early access than early access. No, powered buildings suppress creature spawns in a small radius. So, like, the actual opposite of Factorio. Yeah, I wonder why maybe they put it in early access because the systems are all basically done and they just don't want to call it a full release until it has a story mode and everything. And this way they can test bugs with the creation system and crafting system and all that. Solid biofuel crafting is super slow. Okay. Can I output from a constructor to a storage and input from a storage into a constructor? Could I fill a box with all of my tier 1 biomass, feed it into a constructor, and have it spit out all the solid biomass into a different box? It's been in early access for a year and a half. It's much less complete. Okay. Is that just a regular box that I would build, or is it a special kind of storage unit? It wouldn't work with a personal storage box. It has to be a storage container. They make powering stuff feel really easy. Reinforced iron plate times 2. Well, that's okay. I'm making copper ingots now. Could you then set up like a conveyor belt so that that solid biomass automatically feeds into your burners? Seems like I've set it up so I don't really have space to do that, but yeah, okay, that's fair. Do the burner hoppers have a limit to the maximum amount of fuel that's allowed to be in them? I guess it wouldn't matter if you could just put bajillion in there. Storage container. Can't afford. Means I have 48, right? Okay. That's how many I need is on the right. I keep getting confused on that for some reason. I need more rods. Okay. Instructor. Storage container. Or are those just not lined up appropriately or something? Conveyor belt has an invalid shape. I guess it's because this isn't completely flat land here. Well, that works. Doesn't have to be completely flat. So we want to make solid biofuel. And here we want to put in processed biofuel. Now this thing, the storage container doesn't have to be powered, right? Just the constructor does. Really love the way that they do conveyor belts. It's so painless. Storage doesn't need power to run. Okay, cool. Thanks. That should be processing for a while. Let's see how our plates are going here. Now, could I switch this to I guess I need 300 of them, so we don't want to switch them. I was gonna ask if I could switch this to rods and this one back to screws, or leave it on screws, and then just manually pick up the ingots that are on the conveyor belt, but because it probably doesn't work that way, huh? Control click on it. Inventory transfers all stacks of a type. Okay. I mean, you could do that. It would be faster to just destroy the conveyor belt, because that would give me all the resources on them and then move them, basically. Right now, copper doesn't branch into anything. Ingot has to become wire, has to become cable, so I may as well make wires for now. I don't think I have any other technologies that ingots can branch into. Maybe these walking whale things, they're cool looking. Constructor. Well, that's nice. While you're holding control, it tries to align it better. This thing's maxed out already, isn't it? No, I guess not. Let's make wire. Okie dokie. Let me go make a concrete building machine. See how my plates are going. So as an assembler, like, it's basically a constructor that can take two inputs. Could it turn a copper ingot directly into a cable? Or it's to make even more complicated stuff beyond that? Samplers are for recipes that have two ingredients as written. So those recipes, normally you'd have to manually craft them, or you would need an assembler specifically. You couldn't make them with a constructor. Reinforced iron plates are an assembler recipe. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So they have to have two inputs then? You'd have to have like separate conveyor belts feeding plates and screws into them? I see. They made like the mechanics of playing this. This game is really good at understanding the player's intent, which I like. I feel like that's most noticeable with the conveyor belts, where it's like you would never want to build a conveyor belt to nowhere, so we're just gonna like try to attach whatever you started to build. To whatever you're currently looking at. Now we're making cables. Sweet. I guess once you start automatically creating the stuff that goes into making the most simple machines, it's a lot easier to just run around and make new machines. You're not having to think about going back to the crafting table constantly to make simple stuff. Also, it helps to have the expanded inventory so you can be carrying all this crap with you all the time. Glad I focused on that early. Killed it. Such a friendly little guy, though. Definitely need to start making some reinforced plates. I need those for lots of things. Right. When you're just walking around with a full inventory of the stuff that you probably need. That's a good way to put it. I feel like a lot of this game and a game like Dwarf Fortress is about managing cognitive load. It's different from spatial reasoning. It's what am I able to do right now? And then once I know what all the possibilities are, actually going into the tactics of how you want to do those things. Regular iron plates. Go ahead and finish these off so I can stop thinking about it. Oh, can't afford it. I need cable. All right. Yes, yes. I love how you can do this from really far away. It's nice. I guess I have to give it biomass leaves and biomass wood separately, don't I? Oof. I guess I could make like a split conveyor belt So I'm not just throwing leaves in there. It's not that big of a time savings from what I'm currently doing, but whatever, it's fine. Am I out of fuel? I am out of fuel, okay. Oh, there's logistics tech that lets you do both leaves and wood without swapping them back and forth? Okay. I'll check that in a second. Oh, that's the one that lets you make a splitter, right? Because it's a splitter that I need, isn't it? Okay, I thought maybe you were describing something more complicated than that. Still working on it, it looks like. Should be good on plates for a bit. Let's change you to make rods. I love how easy they make that. Back to making screws is probably fine. I guess I still struggle with like getting out of using one of the shortcuts in the bottom right corner and reverting to whatever my handheld object is. You can just ram two belts together. Oh, sure. Makes sense. You can make rods pretty fast. This game has the same kind of like just one more turn time dilation Civ feeling where like time flies by without you realizing it. I also feel that in Factorio, but I think my heart rate is like 30 BPM lower playing this game than Factorio. Which Factorio should be chill too. That's a problem that I have. It's interesting to me, like I said earlier, how the tone of a game can be sometimes unintentional, automatic consequence of the design. All right. Probably manually craft the remaining cables. It's not a big deal. I think the thing that I need to figure out now is I'd like to have the interstitial parts rather than the final products. Like I'd like to be able to get half of my wire production to just go into a wire storage unit, and then the other half gets turned into cables. And the same thing for iron plates versus iron rods. But I assume I could do that with like splitters and more storage units, that kind of a thing. Okay. I was going to make some more cables. Right, Aki? I guess it would be a little bit more subtle. I get an automatic... My resting heart rate's like 80 when I'm not streaming. It climbs to 90 just from being live. Without doing anything stressful at all. And then usually it's only games where there's a large consequence for dying. That it starts to climb. Loading was a huge spike. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was 5.
Milestone reached. More complex assembly of parts can now be automated. Project assembly parts can now be constructed and sent up via the space elevator. Note: project parts are too complex to produce by hand.
Oh, that's cool. Now the whole having to wait for the pod to return is to keep you from building too many things back to back, I guess. Rotors. Modular frames. Right, so I think it's upcoming technologies that require those. Logistics gets me the splitter and the merger. May as well build it. Let me build an automated miner Mark 1 for the limestone. I don't really have anything to turn limestone into. Well, I guess I could mine it and then turn it into concrete. So I could build a constructor and a miner. Yeah, so like here I'd like to be able to split off and get half of these into rods that I can keep. So I don't have to keep manually making them. I like that though. It's a really good decision, I think. I mean, it's cool from a flavor perspective that the thing goes up there, broadcasts, and comes back, but it slows you down just a little bit, so you're not freaking out about, okay, what's the next thing I gotta do? Oh my god. Concrete. Okay, so miner should be good. All right, I still have to open it. Pick up. Miner Mark 1. I think I need reinforced iron plates and cables, okay. This is where a jump pad and a squishy pad would be nice so I can get up here to my copper. Now, if you choose the green area as your start location, is it always the same start location in the green area for every player? Or is it kind of randomized? It's subtle, but I think that the hub starting with biomass burners is really important to reducing the early complexity to kind of get the player on board with what's going on. Slightly randomized? Okay. Any of these not maxed out? That one's not. Each major start has 3 to 4 starting clusters of iron nodes you might decide to settle in when first building the hub. Can you dismantle the hub and move it, or is that not trivial to do? Oh, I guess you can. Right. No, I think this sort of game benefits from very aggressive gating. They're so forgiving when it comes to height differences like that. Oh, does the smelter not make... Okay, hold on. Is it a constructor that makes concrete? There we go. Hooray! Now I'm making concrete. Oh no! Probably need more biofuel thingamajigs. Did it just get temporarily overwhelmed or something? Not so temporarily overwhelmed. Does it matter? Do, like, as long as they're connected to the same network eventually, are all the biofuel burners contributing to the whole thing? Doesn't matter where you put them, basically? Need 15 plates, 15 rods, 25 wire. Sure. They make the starting fuel burners last pretty long. You got a pretty complicated setup once you need more. Appreciate that. What else did I need? It's... Oh, the hub ones are better? Did I read that right? Or worse? I see. Okay, so can I set them all to like start at the same time? Does it take a second for them to power up so I can do that? Okay, I think... Oh, does pulling one switch turn them all on? Okay, gotcha. That makes more sense. Set on screws for a while. It's an easier version of what I was doing there. Pull the breaker from power poles. Oh, okay. So you can interact with poles the same way you interact with burners, basically. Now, I gotta ask this question. If the wires that I'm building up here, or the cables that I'm building max out, reaches up to 100, will it continue to make copper wire up to 100 too, so I could leave the wires in escrow and just keep taking... I need to reset what I just said. Okay, this is building product 1, which is building product 2. I want product 1, but I don't care about product 2 right now. Can I let it build up to product 2 and then just go get product 1 as I need it? Looks like it's out of wire. Maybe because this isn't done yet. Oh, it'll make up to 500. That just happens to be the limit for wire. Where can I see the max? I'll let that keep going here while I work on other stuff. Yeah, I'm working on splitters and mergers now. Because you need wire for everything, presumably. Now, if I put a storage unit here, this just won't cap out when it reaches the max concrete. It'll just keep putting it into storage, right? Need 3 plates, 9 rods. No indication for max stack size unless you have a full stack lying around. Okay. Right click to split stacks. Stuff a box partway full of single leads or something if you want to limit how much gets made. Okay. It's okay, storage container, you can do it. I believe in you. Was it like rotated slightly wrong or something? What if I held control that it would limit the legal rotations? Too steep. So it needs to be slightly further. Invalid shape. That seems to be good enough. Can you not build conveyor belts to nowhere? Don't rely on ever getting it rotated correctly. Thought when you were holding control while rotating that it would try to align it along northeast, south, and west, or at least along whatever thing it's currently trying to align with. I need to go foraging for leaves. Come on. There we go. Oh, you can adjust the pole's height when you're placing a conveyor? I see. And it tries to do that for you automatically if it's between two buildings, I guess? Wood is more energy dense than the leaves are, right? I guess you get fewer of them per tree. I'm playing this whole game at very close to death. Just wasn't thinking about it. Each unit of wood converts to several biomass. Each leaf is less than one. Okay. I see. See how we're doing with stuff here. So is wire unusual in that it stacks above 100? Because it seems like metal plates are 100, metal rods are 100. I guess screws go up to 500, but that's a late material. I'd rather the interstitial materials stack higher. Like, I guess the more processed something is, I'd rather the stack size go down over time, if that makes sense. So, like, once this gets to 100 cables... Oh, this is just building up a stack here? Oh. So this could go up to 300 over here. Okay. I think I get it. Very cool. Using that on leaves seems unnecessary. Now, as soon as this game gets a story mode and comes out of early access, I'm going to be very, very, very excited to play this. Get it on the voting spreadsheet. So, what is the current How long to beat if 77 hours suggests? Is that to like finish the tech tree or something? I just looked at the value. I didn't actually look at the categories people were submitting for that how long to beat. It could just be people submitting how long they played Satisfactory. Given that it's kind of a sandbox right now. I feel like just completing the tech tree seems fun enough right now. Hours to unlock all tech. Yeah, I wonder if the story is going to end up requiring all tech. Because Subnautica basically does. Maybe it's unfair to map it to Subnautica, but that seems like it's the most similar game with a authored world rather than a procedurally generated one. I know this is kind of a spoiler, but given this is my first introduction to the game and it's still early access, does this game have parts of the world that can't be explored until you research certain tech? Like, I could see them doing a thing where there's, like, radiation areas that you need a certain suit to get through, or places that you have to traverse on vehicle. I think I barely built a Cyclops. I don't remember. I don't think I actually needed one or used one. Okay, I was gonna go place wood in this thing. Just chopping stuff down while I was waiting on wires to build. Can't afford 2 plates, 4 rods. Very few limits to exploration, soft limits. I wonder if that's something that will go into the story mode when they make it. So I think that's what was so exciting to me about the crafting system in Subnautica. It was like, I have to build this thing because if I don't have this thing, I can't reach this depth, right? And I can't explore this area that I want to go to. Poison gas hurts. You can still run with healing before you have a real solution. Okay. So I just need to rotate it less stupidly last time. All the wood. All that just to make fuel. I wish you could load in the fuel automatically. I guess, like y'all were saying, it makes it so that when you get automated fuel, that it feels really good. I think this should be building up excess rods once it caps out on screws. So how does that watchtower upgrade work? Does it just give you like a top-down view temporarily while you're in it, but you can't make any changes while you're looking from it? That's pretty cool. Does skipping the tutorial just have you start with everything from tier 0 at the beginning? Oh, you physically climb it. So it doesn't like, I was imagining that it gave you like a temporary top-down perspective, but it's just, you just have a higher vantage point. And because you can do things like place wires and stuff from as far as you can see, that's actually really cool. That it just takes advantage of the existing build mechanics instead of unlocking a like custom top-down mode. Super down with that. Wires. Rods. Can be set on screws for a while. And you just manually make the plates. None of the ladders in the game are decorative. Whenever you see a ladder on like the hub, you can always climb it. It's really awesome. I guess instead of physically building a watchtower, you could just make a jump pad that takes you high up on a cliff. You're screwed. This game's really cool. Thanks for sharing this, Walter. This is it's interesting to see so many developers kind of exploring the same basic idea for a game, but doing it in ways that feel really different. Build a watchtower on top of it, but don't fall up. I'm excited to see what sort of, like, because there seems like there's a lot of cool design space for character upgrades or things that are annoying that you can make not annoying. Like I can see there being things that we already know that there's a thing that you can fall on that's like a mattress that makes you not take falling damage when you drop onto it, but you can get upgrades that generally reduce your falling damage whether you're falling onto a mattress or not. I like how they added ticks to the production time on this too, so there's certain things that resolve in a single tick, whereas iron ingots are 3 ticks. Can make things more annoying to not automate. Don't think I would ever touch mods. Mods aren't really my thing. I like playing games how the designers intended it. Was this game built by the devs to be mod friendly? Like, do they have like a mod marketplace or something like that? Have they integrated anything from mods into the base game? Should probably just automate this. This is pretty slow. It's the last thing I'm working on, I guess. No formal mod support, but it's on the roadmap. Only a little bit faster than a smelter for ingots. You can make rods many times faster than a machine. Assume there's a lot of unofficial mods, sure. We're coming up on time here in about 2 minutes. Just gonna start leaving some notes for future Marstead. Future Marstead, this game's pretty friendly. You've got your tools at the bottom. You can make wires. Each of these power lines can support up to 4 wires. When you try to connect things, it'll try to make new power lines for you if you point them at the ground. So just press 1 and 2 for that. Conveyor belts are super easy. Right now you have a limestone quarry that's filling up with concrete. You have a machine series here that's making solid biomass fuel that you can put in the fuel burners here, and there's 2 behind the hub there. You've got iron ore that's currently making rods, which are being turned into screws. Off in the far distance, up on that hill, you've got a copper mine that's currently making copper wire. It's being turned into cables. You can collect copper wire from there. Your current objective here, whenever you go to this hub machine, back out, you can see your current tech trees. You're working on a logistics tech tree that's going to get you splitters and mergers, along with a conveyor lift and a thing that shows you productivity. One of the things you want the splitters and mergers for is so that you can better make biomass, because right now you're only making biomass from wood in this storage machine. You also want to start feeding in biomass from leaves eventually. And you can use splitters so that you can be making different kinds of iron material at the same time. Right now your iron conveyor belt is backed up. You want it to also be making plates and rods, and from the rods and plates, screws, and eventually assemblers to make reinforced plates. So your basic gameplay objective here is to focus on this computer guy, use it to make whatever the most interesting milestone is. Right now it's logistics, but there's stuff in tier 1 and tier 2 that you can work toward. Try to focus on inventory space. Obstacle clearing was pretty cool. Stuff that changes what you're going to explore and what kind of buildings you're going to make. And have fun with it. Right now you're close to making these iron plates. You could just make them manually by collecting iron ingots from the miner over here. So I would just boot up the game by quickly making some plates and then finishing this logistics milestone. Thanks again, Walter, for sharing this. This game is super cool. I'm excited to play more of it in a probably distant future when it comes out of early access.